Okay, welcome folks. Let's go ahead and get going. So I wanted to show you how to navigate everything in this course. Being a fully online class, of course, you don't have any direct connection with me, certainly not on a regular basis. There are no live lectures, nothing like traditional courses or the DLive C classes. So I wanted to give you a good sense of kind of how to navigate through one of these classes. You can see, of course, your main webpage here. And with the main webpage, you can just, of course, scroll down to it and get some general like tidbits on how to view the course. First things first, obviously you're watching the video, but the first things I noted too was watch the course video. And then I said, watch the course video again. And I wasn't joking about that. I was noting that I've had times when I've had students that I'll be a month into a semester and they're asking me questions about, well, I don't even know like where to do a test. Okay, well, that's in your syllabus. Did you read the syllabus? Um, I'm not sure. Okay, well, did you watch the orientation video? We have a video? Yeah, so we're a month in the class and you haven't even watched the orientation video yet. So I need to make sure you don't do that. It seems to surprise students, even though I have on the main page and I have announcements of it, they're not obviously reading these things. So I need to make sure that you keep track of that. Again, you're obviously watching the video, but please make sure you watch it the whole way. And of course, ask any questions should you have them. So with this main orientation video, I want to kind of show you where to find everything. Of course, how to navigate the files, where to find the files, dealing with the lab manual, that kind of idea. And that's certainly a big issue. Of course, this is a C course, so ZO 1010C. The C is, of course, noting a combination lecture and lab. Now, with that being said, that means we have to deal with both lecture and lab material. You will have on your exams both lecture and lab material. Does it qualify for your lab course? I don't know. That depends on the program you're in, the institution you're getting degrees at. So you need to talk to HEC, you need to talk to your university, whatever it may be, make sure this is the right class for you and that it does satisfy everything you need. But for the course itself, yes, we've got to deal with both lecture and lab materials. And that can be a little bit complicating. And I'll go over with that as we go through this orientation video. So with that, I'm also going to go over the syllabus. I strongly recommend then that you thoroughly and completely, that means read down and carefully go over all aspects of your syllabus. Do not just skim through it and get a gist of what's going on. That is not a good idea. Students that do that, they'll say things like, oh, I didn't see it in the syllabus, or you didn't say it, well, it's right there, or I didn't know how to find it, which is lamentable because I've even got like a table of contents, so I don't know where to find exams. Really? It's right there in the table of content, what page to go to. So it's been made very clear to me that students are not really doing that sometimes. So please make sure you don't have that happen to you. Carefully go through it. And again, I'll talk about the syllabus in its entirety here, but you still need to read it on your own. Over here, you can see the announcements link. As I'm noting on this page, check this regularly because you've already got 3 announcements for you. And it's the first day of class, mind you. So make sure you read these announcements and read them regularly. And as I'm noting here, make sure you do so all the time, every day, including weekends. Now, I've had students that say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? One last semester or semester before, whatever it was, they said, no, I should only have to look at the announcements on the day of class. Absolutely incorrect. So let's talk about that for a second. I've been teaching college university for several decades now. I've been at HEC for what, 18 years now. And particularly at community college, I've noted that students, some of them seem to think that it's this sort of like in between. It's not quite high school, but it's not quite university. It's like a grade 13 or something like that. That is absolutely incorrect. There is no such thing as grade 13 in the United States. You are in full-fledged college. The only difference between a community college and a university is that community colleges are not allowed to teach upper division of graduate school. That's it. That's the only difference. What we teach is freshman, sophomore level. And when we teach those two class types, they're supposed to be identical to what you get at university. And I mean that clearly, identical in every way, shape, or form, including rigor. But again, I've been made pointedly aware that students don't seem to focus on it that way. So that student will say, well, no, we have class on like Monday, Wednesday. That's the only day I should look at it. No, that might be how K through 12 works. I don't know. I haven't been there a long time, but it's not how college works. Things happen all the time. And you need to check on that. Take, for example, you have a Monday, Wednesday class. Well, who knows? Maybe something happens on a Saturday or Sunday that will affect us on a Monday. So I'll put out an announcement on a Saturday or a Sunday saying, look, this is what's happening tomorrow. Whether it's a class day or a test day, this is what's going on. You need to know that. So you need to check it regularly. If you don't, it's going to be problematic. So make sure you do that. There's also a files link over here. So right underneath the announcements, there it is. Everything you're really going to need in the course is there outside of your textbook. You need to purchase that, of course. And yes, you do need your textbook. And let's see, of course, the online materials. I'll show you where you have all those, but again, I'll run you through it, but work with it. Make sure you know how to comfortably navigate any online class. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. So there's a general information of the course, including the section number, my contact information, and a general tidbit on email. I'll talk about more of that in a minute. Remember, email protocol in the United States is 24 to 48 hours to get back to somebody, not 24 to 48 minutes. But I've had students do that before. Maybe I'm at campus all day and I'll have somebody email me at 10 a.m., but I've already been in class, at like 9 a.m. and I don't even stop. I don't even sit down until like 3 or 4 p.m. Heck, this last semester, because I was in my office by 7 a.m. or so, 7 to 7:30, usually I didn't even have time to have breakfast until like 12:30, 1 o'clock. Seriously, I just didn't have time for it. I'm that busy. So let's say I did that. I was in class at 9 a.m. Student writes me at 10 a.m. I finally sit down at 4 p.m. and I could finally check in emails. And I'll see there's some emails sitting there for the last, 6 hours. And so it's like, well, I emailed you 2 hours ago. Where are you? Where have you been? Wow. Well, first off, none of your business where I've been. I happen to have been in class. Thank you very much, doing my job. And we're not at your beck and call. It's 24 to 48 hours to get back to people in the United States. Again, not 24 to 48 minutes. So kind of keep that in mind. And notice I clearly write here Monday through Friday. Yeah, the days I'm supposed to be working. May surprise you, but we have lives kind of and a family. So I've got a family. I have to deal with them regularly. So I may not have time on the weekend to even check email, which is why I note, when I get back to work on Monday, I'll check and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So you got to kind of work with us. And I'll come back to emails again momentarily. Okay, so that all in mind, let's go to the files link. Pretty much everything you're going to need in the course is in that link. So hopefully it'll open up. Hey, I've been noticing HEC's page today has been kind of slow. So you got a lot of things here. I'm going to go over all of these, but let's start with your syllabus link. Okay, and the syllabus is just that. All right, so I recommend you open up a new page, and there you go. So again, contact information for the course, contact information for myself. Notice I'll get back to office hours momentarily. You can see my office and my email and telephone contact information. Telephone number, I'm teaching all online this summer, so do not expect to find me at my office. You might pop down, I don't know, on Wednesday and say, hey, I came looking for HEC. Great, I told you in the orientation video on the first day I wasn't going to be around. Maybe you'll get lucky. I mean, I don't know. I might have to pop in at some point. You just happen to catch me, but don't expect to find me there. I'm teaching all online, which means I recommend don't leave a phone message. If you leave me one, I don't know, let's say 1st of June, I may not even walk back into my office till the middle of August. Well, the class is long over by then. So again, I didn't even get the phone message until August. So don't do that to yourself. Recommend, because it's an online class and I'm teaching only online over the summer, email me. I'm very communicative. I tend to get back to people as soon as I can. I will do the same for you. Right, so the course intended outcomes, first and foremost, wow, there's a lot of them. Look at all of those. Oh my goodness gracious. And bear in mind, course intended outcomes are not set down by any faculty member. I did not sit down with your textbook and go through and say, oh yeah, this is what I want you to do. Nope, there is a committee that comes together and they decide, here's what we need to do in this course. Okay, so a committee most likely came together and said, here's what they're going to do in zoology class. So these are all the things that we need to tend to through the course. There's a lot of stuff here. So we have to deal with this. Now, your notes tend to follow the course intended outcomes. I tend to edit notes, that kind of idea. So what's in your PowerPoint notes is following this. And I'll come back to that also when I get to that part of the syllabus. So let's talk about the syllabus for a second. Just a brief note. It's a 15-page syllabus. First off, that is not as long as I've seen before. I've seen them well into the 30s. Wait till you get one of those fun documents, a 30+ page syllabus. Now, why is it even this long, 15 pages? This is all due to COVID. I ended up teaching online. So COVID itself, a lot of us had never taught online. I had never taught online. I wasn't against it in any way. It's just, I was a traditional college professor, an old, like stodgy professor. And I taught on campus. That's where I went. And then COVID happened. We all got thrown online. A lot of us with no background in teaching online. It's just welcome to the new world, pretty much what it was for not just HEC, but everywhere. And so as that happened, I had no training really, so I thought, well, all right, what do I need to do for my class? I have been using roughly a 5 to 6 page syllabus for as long as I can remember. Granted, I have to edit each semester, add stuff in, take stuff out, but it generally hovered around 5 or 6 pages. I never recall anybody having an issue with that syllabus, never any grumblings or anything like that. I just don't recall that. And then I started teaching online, and it quickly became apparent that students were not happy with that. And the general comment was, it needs to be thorough. You're not with us regularly. We really can't just bring an issue up to you. We gotta, email you or make a Teams appointment. It's just disjointed, which is welcome to online. Of course it is. So the biggest question I got was, why isn't it longer? And so the biggest request I got was, please make your syllabus thorough. Okay, I did. So I sat down and I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to have an orientation day, like a first day of class at HCC, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to go through my syllabus and talk about A and B and C and D. So fine, let's just put it into my syllabus. Here's everything I would have talked about on the first day. Granted, yes, I'm doing that in an orientation video, but here's what I would have talked about. And so it came out to be 15 pages for you. And then some people say, well, now it's too thorough. Yeah, I'm not backing off on that, because I understood the suggestion and the request. People would say, well, you didn't say that. I didn't know. Well, now you can't say that. It's there. You can't say, well, I didn't know we had X number of tests, or I didn't know how to deal with Canvas quizzes. I didn't know it had to be through Google Chrome. Guess what? It's all in your syllabus. Everything's here. So you can't say that anymore. And to make it even better, I put a table of contents in for you. So even though I'm going to go through all this now, and I know you're going to read it carefully, right? A couple of weeks from now, we get towards our first exam. I just don't remember how he wants examinations done. You can come back to the orientation video, mind you. This is going to be up on Canvas all semester. Or you can go right into the syllabus, go right down to examinations. There it is, right there. Scooch all over. Okay, it's on page 9 to 10. Great. Flip over to page 9 and reread examinations. Find out how they're done. It's all here for you. It's supposed to be thorough. You're supposed to read it carefully so you know what's going on. So let's start with the main one here, the COVID issue. Now, a couple things with this. You might be thinking, wait a minute, this is an online class. Why does he have a section on COVID? In fact, there's several sections in here. You're like, what? Well, it's because I don't know where you're doing this. I more or less kept it consistent between my traditional on-campus and my online courses. So let's say you're doing the work at Del Mabry campus. You're, I don't know, in the social science building on the bottom floor, right there by the cafe, and you're in that hallway and you're doing this stuff. Well, great. You need to be following the policies. Now, COVID is an issue, of course. A few things. I'm obviously a scientist. Most people who teach at college level, university level, we're not education majors. That was not our background. Usually when somebody gets a degree in education, that's for K through 12. Now, when you do like a master's in education or a doctorate in education, yeah, I see some of those at community college and or university, but we're all trained in our area. So I'm a scientist that happens to teach. That's 99.9% of us. That's what we are. So because I'm a scientist, when it comes to COVID, I don't pay much attention to what's going on in the news. I watch it for like hospitalizations and deaths, sure. But when it comes to the illness itself, no, because it's not useful to me. What's more useful to me, I just go read the journal. If somebody's quoting PLOS or Lancet or New England Journal of Medicine, whatever it is, I go read the journal. Granted, I'm not a medical doctor, but biology is biology at the end of the day. So I have a pretty good idea what's being said. And because I follow the journals, I follow what's being said in the science community, I make my decisions based on that. And from what I'm seeing, COVID's not going away. Sorry, folks. People are acting like COVID's over. It's not. And from what we're seeing in the sciences, it's going to come back. It's going to be a recurring issue. They're already talking about, is this going to be like a yearly flu shot or a yearly pill? How are we going to deal with this? Is it going to get worse? Is it going to get better? Are new mandates and even lockdowns coming? Yeah, might be. So we'll see. So HCC, we have to follow both what the state says and the CDC says. And so that's an interesting game because the CDC, it's science, obviously, like the NIH, but then there's political issues as well, what the state's saying. And, of course, the government agencies, the federal government owns the CDC. There's a lot of complexity here. So HCC is kind of caught in the middle of that. And you might have noted middle of last semester, HCC said, well, we can relax on the mask mandate. Yeah, but it's not gone away. So we're still dealing with this. And you'll see a lot of people still wearing masks at the college. A lot of students still do it. A lot of faculty still do it. A lot of administrators still do it. I still do it. I do it regularly. One, because I see the science. Two, because we're not sure what's going to happen. And three, I've got a wife with cancer, so I play no games. For what it's worth, by the way, I hate wearing masks. Hate it. But I wear them all the time. not home, you know, I have to here, but whenever I go out, yeah, I go to Publix, I still wear a mask. I go to Lightning game, I still wear a mask. Certainly when I'm at college, I still wear a mask. So again, these policies are still out there, and HEC wants you to be aware of them. So they still recommend, look, if you're not feeling well, stay at home. Yeah, it's important to get healthy yourself. We don't want you to get sicker and sicker, of course not, but to keep those around you safe. Again, I've got a wife with cancer. I'm taking zero risks in these kind of regards. So I'm thinking about not just myself, but other people as well. Wearing the mask, again, we would like for you to do it, but these mandates are going to come and go. A lot of this political, all depends on who's a mayor, a governor, certainly a president will all kind of dictate these things. Welcome to how science works. Science is not apolitical. I'm sorry about that. That's a fallacy. Being a scientist can be. When I do my research, I'm not thinking politics. I might if I do environmental science research. I don't. My background is ecology, zoology, and geology. Those are my backgrounds. But you know, we are cognizant of laws and rules and regulations, of course. But when I do the research, just the science, no, I'm worrying about the science. But when it comes to humans, yeah, I mean, there's still politics everywhere. So science is not apolitical. So that kind of comes down here, how that math is going to work. Certainly, this blew my mind when they first put this out. By the way, this came from HCC. This is not something I wrote. A couple semesters ago, they just said, everybody are going to put this in your syllabus. Okay, I just put it in. I didn't change a word. Came right from HCC. This one kind of gave me a bit of a moment like, huh? You have to tell people to wash their hands? Yeah, you do. Blows my mind, especially as a scientist, but yeah, you do. This one is technically incorrect. It should be 70%. I'm not sure why HCC went with 60. I see that out there periodically, but the science indicates 70%. So bear that in mind. But again, if you're going to be at campus, you know, I don't know again where you're doing this fully online course. We don't have any live lectures at any time. You know, you should be following the policies. And the only thing we have formally scheduled are exams. I'll show you the dates of those exams when we get to that part of the syllabus. Okay, another thing that's not quite for us, but again, I don't know where you're doing this, is the etiquette. So this is pretty much the same thing I have in my traditional syllabi. Again, I'm not just from my class, but if you're in any class, you should be following these things. Effectively, this is saying when you come to class, sit down and don't be an arse. That's pretty much all it's saying. You know, be an adult, be a college student. You'd be amazed how many times that doesn't happen. So it's an etiquette issue. And you know, actually, I knew these for many years. I saw them at university a lot. And I kept saying to myself, don't worry, it's going to get better. You don't need to do it. Yeah, that didn't happen. It's gotten worse and worse, student behaviors and attitudes. COVID has not helped this. So eventually I broke down, even before COVID, I broke down and put it in. But it's really meaning this is what you're supposed to do when you go to class. Now, granted, we don't have lectures. But I don't know if your other classes, if you're doing this. And certainly if you're in a hallway or something at HCC while you're doing my work, you're expected to act appropriately. So give a read on this. Getting to our stuff. That's actually here. So there are two things you need. There is a book. Here it is, 9th edition, Hickman et al. It is sold at the HC Del Mabry bookstore. You must buy this. You have to. You need to do the readings before you hit my notes, and you have to do the homework that's only found in the textbook. So again, get that book. With that, there is a lab manual. You could purchase it at the Del Mabry campus, but I was given permission to post it online for you. I'll show you where you'll find that when we get there in the syllabus. Now, this is an intriguing one, attendance. This is a fully online class. There's no live meetings ever. There's no class sessions ever. The only thing really scheduled are the exams. That's it. One of the first things I asked was, how do I do attendance then? You know, if I have a DLive C class, DLive C is online with live lectures. So it'd be like a Monday, Wednesday, 9 a.m. class. We all get together Monday, Wednesday, 9 a.m. and I give you a lecture. I lecture like I normally would. I throw in every stupid joke I could think of, an anecdote I could think of, and I show you videos. I do the whole works. I do everything I would do in a normal lecture class. We don't have that. So they're like, oh yeah, we got to find a way. And there were different ways to do it. And so a lot of discussions have happened over the last few years. You know, COVID has really changed our world. And so a few things were done. Notice there is an extra credit quiz you will be taking on the 23rd of May. Do not interpret extra credit as meaning optional. You have to take this. I'm just being nice to you by making the points extra credit. What a nice way to start the semester, huh? Having effectively free points. Now it's on the syllabus. As long as you read the syllabus once or twice, you're golden. I'm not looking to find the most obscure thing in your syllabus. So don't worry about that. I just want to make sure you read your syllabus. That's what it's all about. And it gives me a chance to do some attendance. Great, we both win. By the 25th of May, you must send me an email from your HEC email to my HEC email telling me you want to stay in the class. If you don't do those two things, you will be deregistered from the class. And I'll get to that momentarily. On Fridays, except for when we have an exam around that date, and you'll see this, I will be posting a discussion for you guys to talk about. It is a discussion for you guys. I'll chime in when I have to and need to, that kind of idea. Now I already have the discussions up there. I can quickly show it to you. So go back to files real quick, right there, discussions. I think I have the first one posted. You can't see it yet. Notice it's not available till the 27th. I'm giving the semester a little chance to get going. People are going to register in and deregister. It's always kind of messy the first week, add drop week. So you can't do anything with it now. And again, you can't even see it on your end right now, but just to quickly show you. So on the 27th, on that Friday, this will open up. And you can see, I'll give you a little summary of what's going on. And of course, the discussion of the week kind of idea. This is for you guys to talk about. I've given you the background, given you links to understand the subject. I validate where I get information. I cite my sources, that kind of idea, and then let you talk about it. This is for you guys to talk about the material. Now, bear in mind, it's not for you to criticize each other. These are supposed to be constructive discussions to help each other understand subject matter. And even if somebody says something you don't like or you don't agree with, fine. Be mature about it. You're an adult and or college student. Be constructive. Okay, I don't agree because of X, Y, and Z. Never attack. That's not appropriate. And hopefully you enjoy the discussions. But it is also a way, again, that I can do attendance. You're going to submit homework, of course. You have a Gordon rule. This is a Gordon rule class designed by the college and nothing to do with me. And of course, you have exams. All of that is your participation. Therefore, your attendance. You do not get points for participation. That's high school. You're an adult and or in college. You should get no points for doing your job, but it is for attendance. Okay, now that WN is right here. So if you particularly don't do the first quiz and the only quiz you have in the class, and of course send me that email saying I want to stay, you will be deregistered. It's called the WN, withdrawal non-attendance. Now, HEC does it this way. USF doesn't. USF, last time I taught there, has a first day drop policy. If you do not attend on the first day, you are dropped from the class. End of story. HEC has a little more wiggle room, I guess, but USF, like HEC, is trying to make sure you're on top of what you need to do. Especially if you're new to college, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with what's going on. So professors, we do not have any ability to add or drop any student at any time except WN, withdraw non-attendance. Now, that means if you do any one of these things, you do that quiz, you send me the note, you do a discussion, you submit a homework, whatever it is, I will not be dropping you. I will not be withdrawing you. You will not get a WN. Only you can withdraw or drop from a course. So if you've only taken one test, I think we have five exams in the class. If you've taken one test out of 5, you will fail the course. And bear that in mind, you have every right to fail this class. There is no grade 13 in high school. It doesn't work that way. You haven't paid for a course like that. You haven't paid for a grade. You paid to have an honor of taking a class. That's it. You will get a grade commensurate with the work you've done, how you scored on exams, that kind of idea. And this happens all the time. The last semester, a week ago, when I was submitting final grades, I can't tell you, there was 7, 8, 9 students. Took the first test, never came back, including zoology. I taught this last semester. Breaks my heart, but I have to give you a grade. I have no choice or I get fired. I've got a family, thank you very much. I'm not going to lose my job because you're not doing your job. Sorry. So make sure you're doing it correctly, folks. Office hours. As I showed you at the beginning of this, oh, that is an error. I will remove this. My apologies. I meant to take that out. Sorry. I've only had a short amount of time to transition from spring to summer. My apologies. This should say by appointment only is what this should say. That's how office hours works at HEC over the summer. This was my spring office hours. For what it's worth, since it's here, let me just say this though. There are 3 ways online students can generally meet their faculty members, office hours. Email, Teams appointments, and then if it was a traditional course and or I'm teaching on campus, yeah, I would have regular office hours, like right here, 7:30 to 9, 12 to 1:45. There's my office itself. And yeah, like any other student, you could come and talk to me during office hours, sure. But that's not usually how summer works. Summer for all classes is by appointment only. HC does it. So I'm sorry, when I was reworking the syllabus from the spring to the summer, I forgot to take this out. I will remove that. Probably not tonight. It's kind of late, but first thing tomorrow. And put in by appointment only. It's just the way it works. I don't have it here. Sorry about that. But that's just it. Now, if you want to see me then, which means email or Teams appointment. Here's your Teams appointment. So you can make Teams appointment, sure. Now, you send me an email we'll schedule a time that's good for both of us, around your classes, around my class, that kind of idea. And we'll have a Teams appointment, just like this. You can ask me questions, I can ask you questions, that kind of idea. You'll be able to see and hear me as long as tech is working. I have to be able to hear you. It doesn't matter to me if I see you or not. It's entirely your call, but I have to be able to hear you, obviously, so I can know what you're asking. Now, if you've never done a Teams appointment, here's a video to show you how to do all that. Wonderful. And HEC did a very good job. So watch that and get yourself set up. You're going to do this thing, making a call to like from your computer to my computer. So it's pretty much like from your HEC address to my HEC address is how this is going to work. And then it's just like this. It won't be a video, but it'll be, I'm using Teams right now. It'll be this dialogue. You can ask whatever you want. You can go over material. You can ask questions on the labs. If you've taken an exam, you can go over the exam. This is student driven. What I have noted, notice the time up here. I have noted that these generally last for an hour to an hour and a half, especially if you're going over an exam. So kind of budget that, but they're entirely set by you guys. Email messages. I already went over this, the whole 48 hours kind of idea. But I have one other note from that. Make sure you're only emailing from your HEC address to my HEC address. That's how it should always be. And make sure you tell me who you are. And I mean that seriously. I've got hundreds of students sometimes. That's a lot of students to keep track of. And it is not unheard of that I have at least 2 people with the exact same name, like 2 people with Bob P. Smith, literally. So I'll get a message from Mr. Smith, who, by the way, in the subject line says Mr. Smith. So that's what the subject's about. Okay. And in the body of the email, they say something like, well, what did we do today? I don't know, because I don't know who you are. So I'll have to write back to Mr. Smith saying, well, which Mr. Smith are you? I've got several of you. Now, my experience has been 9 times out of 10, I never get a reply to that email, which means you wasted your time sending me the first email. I wasted my time replying to you. Nothing ever got done. But let's take the track that you actually replied to my who are you email and say, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I'm Bob P. Smith in your D-Lon zoology class. Great. Now, in email number 4, I could finally answer your initial question. Here's what we did. Take 10 seconds of your life. Just say, I'm Bob P. Smith in your D-Lon Zoo class. I happen to be a little bit behind because of X, Y, and Z. Can you tell me what we need to do? Yeah, sure, I'll help you out. Now, granted, you can also look in your tentative schedule. That pretty much tells you what to do. But of course, I'll be happy to help you out. It saves a whole lot of time for everybody. Now, while that's pretty direct, this one is not. Bear with me for a second on this. So as I noted to you at the beginning of this is a C class, ZO 1010C, combination lecture lab. Make sure, again, this is the right kind of class for you. Make sure it satisfies your lab requirement, lecture and lab requirement. So because of this, we have to deal with both lecture and lab material. You are in essence taking 2 classes in one, a lecture class and a lab class, which means particularly because this is online, that becomes unwieldy quickly. If I'm doing this on campus, no big deal. One day we're lecture, one day we're lab. Now in lab, I might be doing lecture stuff, but it's pretty easy. And I'll tell you, okay, next time we come into lab, we're doing a lab. It's pretty direct. Not here. You have to look in several different places to find out what's going on. So specifically, you got to look at the lab material. Now let's go back. So back to your main Canvas page, go back to files. All right, notice I have a lab folder and an additional labs folder. Let's start with the lab folder. Okay, you can see 3 things here. The first one and the most salient one, this is your lab manual. Like I said, I was given permission to post your lab manual. Great, there it is for you. The entire lab manual all here, ready to go. Wonderful, save some money if you like. Now, some people do like having the physical book. Great, go down to the Dell Mabry bookstore and purchase it. It's the only place I know where they sell this. So it's all there for you, the lab manual itself. Now let's go back to this. And I have 2 labs that are not found in the lab manual. So I posted them here. So let's say we're doing a lab on just general taxonomy. So let's go to your lab manual. All right, let's go to the table of contents. Let's just pick a lab. All right, so let's say we're doing, I don't know. We all have our specialities, what we like. Let's say we're doing, how about this one? Maybe cnidarians. There it is. Diploblasts. You have diploblastic organism and triploblastic organism. We'll talk about that in the course. But when I was in my undergrad, I did my undergrad in Hawaii. I was on Oahu, but I was also working in the Waikiki Aquarium. And when I was at the Waikiki Aquarium, I ended up spending like 4 years doing cnidarian research to that aquarium. Incredible organisms. For a lot of organisms, they never get their due. Plants too. Can't tell you how many times I try to get students to see plants differently because they are astounding organisms. But yeah, jelly. Don't call them jellyfish. I know even the author did that. It annoys me to no end. Mr. Whitlock's a great guy, but they are known as jellies, not jellyfish, because they're not fish. Never have been, probably never will be a fish. But all right, so you see in your tentative schedule, in your syllabus, that we're doing Diploblast, and this one happens this week, happens to be on the Cnidarian. So first and foremost, you see that? You'll go to your files, you go to your lab manual, and you'll go to Cnidarians. So let's click on Cnidarians. I lost it. There it is. Hopefully it takes you down to them. There it is, the phylum Cnidaria. It used to be called the old Coelenterata. Coelum means like cavity. They have a cavity that we have to deal with, body cavity. So, you know, it talks about it here. You know, there's got some pictures and things like that in there. Wonderful, lovely pictures. By the way, Mr. Whitlock did a really good job. I really do like this. But perhaps this is not everything you need, and it's not. So you need to do two things on every lab. Go to the file, the lab file folder in Canvas. So again, go to the files and go to labs, check your lab manual, read on anything there, and then always, 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 go to the additional labs and just check to see, is there anything here on that lab? So you're scrolling down, oh, there's one. And what do you know, Cnidarians? So you look in the lab menu first, then you check the folder for that group, if it's there. A little moth came in. Some of these labs will have them, some of these labs will not. So you always need to check both the lab folder and the additional lab folder. This one happened to have it, so there it is, which means I gave you extra information. Bear in mind, this lab was designed for traditional on campus, and it had to be reworked to work off campus. So again, if you're looking at Cnidarians, Mr. Whitlock will often say something like, there it is, list of specimens. Well, it's not in your lab manual. So how are you doing a list of specimens? If you're on campus, you would have had jars set out and specimens set out, all that kind of idea, but they're not here, obviously. So I have to provide that, which is why I did this, which is why I gave you the additional information. You click on that, and now you have your specimens. So notice Diploblast, Cnidarians, and ctenophores. So I've given you all this extra stuff. Specimens effectively is what this is. Now, granted, it wouldn't be this lovely in class. You know, if we're at the Del Mabry campus, you're not going scuba diving and looking at this lovely coral. It's just beautiful. You wouldn't be doing that. So yeah, I mean, these are a little bit nicer images, but oh, look at that, Aurelia aurata, beautiful, one of the most amazing Cnidarians out there. But I've tried to find as lovely. Oh, look at that, the lion's mane jelly. Sorry, I get excited easy. Science. This is not a photoshopped image. I actually came across one of these one time in my life when I was working at the Waikiki Aquarium. One of the days I was down there, we got a call in from a place called Coconut Island, which is on the other side of Oahu. Coconut Island today is like a marine biology institute. Back in the day, a long time ago, before it was a marine biology institute, it was actually where they filmed Gilligan's Island. So have you ever seen like the outdoor shots to that very old television show? It was right there on Coconut Island, which is all like 100 yards offshore. So it's fabulous. But Coconut Island, the biologists out there, they couldn't handle this animal because they didn't have the space and facilities for it. So they asked us, could you do something? So we all went out there to see it. It was huge. The bell, this part here, was so large, I couldn't wrap my arms around it. It was so big. Largest, this is a plankton, actually. There are nectins and planktons out there. Nectin is an animal like this human who can swim against a current. Plankton can't swim against a current. So this is a megaplankton, huge plankton, but it still can't really fight against a current. Unfortunately, in that particular case, the Waikiki Aquarium couldn't help because it had blown its bell. There was a big tear in the bell. The animal was going to die most likely, and we just had to kind of let it be on its own. Unfortunately, there's nothing you could do. It was very sad, but it was such a beautiful animal. But that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying in these images, these additional labs, to give you everything like this. This could have easily been in lab at Del Mabry campus, you know, a little jar or just sitting out a piece of coral. Yeah, showing the calcium carbonate skeleton. So that's what these additional files are for. Always start with the lab manual. Just go into the files folder. So let's go back to files. You would click on the labs. You would go into your lab manual, go to that lab. In this case, it was Cnidarians, read what's there. And then you would check the additional labs right there. And then see if there's anything here. Some labs will have it, some labs won't. Sorry. Let me close this file once Teams lets me to get all this extra stuff out of here. Okay. I need that. Okay. All right, so I can get this one out as well. Okay, so let's go back to your syllabus. So That's why I'm noting here. Start with the lab manual. There it is, the manual, and then go to the additional labs folder. Now, any questions you find in the manual, certainly those images, I say right there in the very beginning of those additional lab files, you must know these images for your test. They are fair game for your exam. You must know the information I gave you, whatever it is, like taxonomy for your exam. Make sure you digest it. All of that is part of your homework and therefore part of the exams. For the posted files, all right, let's go back again. All right, so I could close the lab manual. So go back to the files. The posted files are really noting the notes, right? They're your lectures. Every chapter is here. There's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. Like I said earlier, what I recommend, start by reading your chapter, then go to the PowerPoints. The PowerPoints, whatever in the PowerPoint is what you need to know for your exams. Your exams will cover two things: the material in the PowerPoints and your labs. You do not need to send me an email saying, what do I need to know for the test? It's right there. If it's in the PowerPoints, in the labs, that's what you need to know for your test. Anything extra in the chapters is where I might get some extra credit from. So make sure you read through that. Now notice here, right there, these notes come from the author. I didn't write these. And it's very thankful these come from the author. It is a full-time job in itself to write notes. Full-time job. It takes forever. So when we get these from the author, we have to do two things. We have to edit them, take stuff out, put stuff in, following the course intended outcomes, the stuff I showed you at the beginning of your syllabus, and look for mistakes. So these are the notes that came from your author. And I've edited them to some degree, take stuff out, put stuff in, if I found any errors, that kind of idea. So don't get grumpy with me if you think, well, it's still too long. I've never seen 125 slides. Yeah, welcome to science, especially welcome to biology. The worst I remember is in my majors Bio 2 class. One of the chapters, it's on chordates, and they're focusing on vertebrates, but it's on chordates. When I got the notes from the author, that one chapter was 220 slides. That's what came from the author. I went through it following the course intended outcomes, and I took everything out that wasn't in the intended outcomes and then cleaned it up. And I think I whittled that one down to about 99 slides. It was really difficult to go from 220 slides down to 99. But people aren't realizing, wow, there's that much in the book. Yeah, there is. I didn't write this book. I didn't adopt this book. It's a committee that adopts books, but we got to deal with that. So I get people really angry about that. Oh, yeah, that was 80 slides in one chapter. Unreasonable. Well, you obviously don't get it or you can't handle it, because welcome to science. And it's right there. It's in your syllabus, what the chapters are going to be. If you don't like this, find a different class. It's that simple. And by the way, since I'm on the topic, I'll come back to this. Don't worry, I'll come back to this. Let's go down to your examinations real fast. Because right here, I state clearly in your syllabus how long your tests are going to be. If you don't like it, find another class. There is no reason to get angry, grumpy, and criticize halfway through a course when something's right there being told to you. Now, again, if you choose to take this class and then find out, oh, that was a bad choice, that's on you. That's not on your advisor. It's not on the dean. It's not on me. It's not on your cat. It's not on your mom. It's on you. Sorry, my cat's sitting right here looking at me. It's on you, because we clearly told you at the beginning of the semester. Remember, there's a lot in these books. Welcome to science. It's that simple. So there's your homework. Now, I sat down, went to the end of your chapters, and I said, here's what's in your notes, the course intended outcomes. Here are the appropriate questions. And so I edited them. You only have to do the review questions. There's other stuff in your book. And I edited it. Chapter 1. So these are the homework for exam 1. You have to do question 2, 4, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 19. All the other questions you don't have to worry about. Heck, chapter 3. You only have to do questions 2, 6, and 11. That's it. All the other questions you don't have to worry about. So I'm trying to make it as manageable as I can. There's a lot of stuff on this course. Zoology is not an easy class. It's that simple. It's a non-majors class, yes, but it's really designed for students that are either going to be going into veterinary technology or becoming an actual vet. Be aware, if you're on the path to become a vet, classically speaking, from what I've been told, I never went to med school. My background is ecology, zoology, and geology. But I've heard routinely that vet school, veterinary science school, is harder than medical school. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. What's walling in your door? There's a gecko on my screen. So is it a gecko you're dealing with, some sort of reptile? Is it a house cat you're dealing with? Or maybe you need something really exotic like a bird. Bear in mind, that's not really that exotic. I worked a long time before I was a professor in zoos and aquariums. So a bird, what does that compare to an orca or a bull shark? Or you have to deal with seahorses today. Can you deal with all of that? And deal with it compassionately. We're finally at the stage where humans are realizing these animals are amazing. They're very complex, just as complex as humans. Do they deserve quality of life? Do they deserve to be sensitive to their feelings and emotions, not just their wants and needs, but feelings and emotions? Now, I can answer that for myself. You have to answer it for yourself. So it's really changed. Everything from the zoological sciences generally to aquariums and zoos, all the way down to being a vet, has really changed over the decades, and for the better. So there's a lot of things to know, but I've done my best to edit this. Yes, this is a non-major class, but it is designed for people going into vet tech and into veterinary science. Keep that in mind. Anybody's welcome to take this class, but bear in mind, which means if you're not going into vet tech, you're not wanting to become a vet, whatever it may be, you can't say me and say, well, my degree is actually this. I should get an easier course. No, no, no. That is not how college works. Although I've had students try to pull that stunt, that is not how college works. You agreed to take the class like everybody else. Notice I even noted here, chapters 5 and 9, we're not even doing those two chapters, so you're not responsible for them. Again, I've tried to edit everything I possibly can for you. Now, sorry, my cats are playing, caught my attention. When you're doing this, the questions in the lab sheet is also homework. So this is all dealing with homework, right? So your homework comes really in three things. The chapter questions you have to do, your lab questions, if there are any questions, especially as you get towards the latter part of the class, you start having a lot of those, know the specimens right there in your lab manual. Yeah, well, there's no homework with that except knowing the specimens because they're going to be on your test. So kind of bear that in mind. There might not be anything to turn in that regard, but you have to know the specimens. There's always going to be something to turn in for the chapters though in the lecture material. And then of course you have a Gordon rule. Now for the homework, it is due on the day of the test. The labs are due on the day of the test. Now you'll see at the tentative schedule at the end of the syllabus, I put dates with the labs. Those are just suggested dates on when to do the lab. You don't have to do it on those dates, but you have to have it done by the day of the test. All homework is due by 11:59 p.m. on the day of the exam. Just PDF it and email it from your HEC email to my HEC email, and you're done. Some students do that. Some students do it in Microsoft Word. Some students will take a picture of their homework and email it to me from their HEC to my HEC. I don't care. As long as I get the homework by 11:59 on the day of your test, you're good. And like always in college, no late work is accepted, except under extenuating circumstances like death of the family, heaven forbid, hospitalization, heaven forbid, jail or jury summons, heaven forbid, or your military duty. Again, thank you for your service. But there are things I can work with, and these are the more common things that come up. But for anything like this that comes up, that you're late on a test, you're late on homework, you're late on the Gordon rule, you must validate in writing, proving that this got in the way of you doing the work. You can't say, I forgot. Nope, that's not how college works. Sorry. Especially if you ever want to entertain going to professional fields like vet tech and veterinary science. Yeah, you can't act like that anymore. Right, so your discussion boards. Like I said on Fridays, I'll be putting up a discussion for you. I already showed you that first one. These are for you guys to talk about the subject matter. I'm presenting the discussion, sure. There you go. Here's your topic one. I'm presenting the discussion, sure. But then you guys get to talk about it. So I'm asking you questions. You can see right there, question mark. I'm asking you questions. Talk about this. There's no real right or wrong answer here. It's just a discussion. Be nice, be civil. Even if you don't agree, well, I don't really agree with you because of. Just be nice about it. This is meant for you guys. I will chime in. I will talk. I will check this. I will definitely check this. It's an attendance issue. But it's meant for you guys to discuss the subject matter. It's meant to help you get ready for the exams, to get you to think critically. That's your Gordon rule. Come back to that. Think critically on this. So what do you know? Speaking of your Gordon rule, there it is. Now with the Gordon rule. If you're not familiar with the Gordon rule, sorry, my cat's having a lovely time playing. If you're not familiar with the Gordon rule, It either means two things. You're either new to college or you're new to College of Florida. Either way, welcome. Here's what's going on. A long time ago, Senator Gordon, decided that college students were coming out woefully unprepared on mathematics and writing ability. No matter what you think about this, he was right about one thing. No matter where you go, you will always be graded on how you write and how you talk. It's just how humans are. Sorry. And that includes emails, by the way. You really should reread your emails before you send them. So the math part was easy. X degree, Y math. So this degree, you go to college algebra or pre-calculus or Calc 1. Fine. Writing, that was hard. Really, they only had two options to them. Make you take like English 3, which actually I thought would have been a really good idea. Being formally trained by someone who's an English professor. But what do I know? Or what they chose, I understand why they chose this. It's called writing across a curriculum. I get the idea. They want you to be exposed to a lot of different styles of writing. Here's the problem. I'm not an English professor, so I should not be in the position to teach you this. And I'm not. You can't send me a paper saying, hey, can you read this over, see if it's good? No. You are required to go to the HCC Del Mabry Writing Center. And at the Writing Center, they're the ones who are supposed to help you with this. Or go to your English teacher. I'm supposed to get the final product. And then I read it. So you get more schooling on writing. That's great. But here's the other problem. What am I supposed to teach you? Seriously, take APA or MLA. That doesn't really exist in the sciences. Here's why. Not even just science. Let's just focus on biology. Let's say I'm out there doing ecological research, dealing with the environment or a species or whatever it is, population ecology, community ecology, whatever it is. And so I do my research and I think, well, this would be a good journal, maybe the Journal of Ecology. And so I have to go to that journal, the Journal of Ecology. They're going to have what's called the instructions to authors. I read through that and it tells me everything, how to format my paper, the structure, everything about it. It's not APA or MLA. It's what they want. Okay. So I structure everything to fit their style, submit it to the journal. Hopefully they get published. Let's say I don't. Let's say they send back, which is not unusual for scientists or any field, I would guess, but for scientists, sure. And I say, all right, that journal didn't work out. I'm going to go to this journal. Maybe it's a Journal of Marine Biology and Ecology. I have to redo everything. I have to go to that second journal, Journal of Marine Biology and Ecology, read its instructions to author, and reformat everything to how they want. It's not APA or MLA. That doesn't mean anything to me anymore as a scientist. I mean, I know what this means, but it's just not how science works. So what am I exactly supposed to teach you? Lamentable. But that all being said, I try to make it as user-friendly as I could. From my position, our position in this course, there's really only two things that could have been done. Essay exams, which I'm not a big fan of. They take forever to grade. I don't get how English teachers do it so fast. And there are plenty of students who don't like essay exams anyhow. So I do multiple choice tests, you know, true, false, that kind of idea. Which means the other option was for you to write a paper for me. But because I'm not an English professor and, you know, just got to deal with a state hoop, I try to make it as user-friendly as I could. Between now and your turn-in date, you can see it right there, June 27th. You have to pick two articles that relate to each other. Any two articles on the same subject that relate to zoology. It has to relate to zoology, of course. This is a course in zoology, so it's got to relate to that. And then here's all I want. Summary of the articles. Now that might seem a little high schoolish. It's not. For a lot of scientists, the most difficult part of a paper to write is the abstract. It's right there at the front of the paper, the beginning of the paper. Well, what's an abstract? It's a summary of the article. You took all that science and you crushed it down into a paragraph or two. It's really hard to do. So you're practicing that. And then you get to talk about how the articles are similar or not similar, compare, contrast them. And then I want your thoughts. By this point, you're about halfway done with the course, so you can talk about it. What do you like? What do you not like? And why? You can't get that wrong. I'm not going to read it and say, oh my God, you thought that? No, they're your thoughts. Articulate your position. That's another reason why we're doing discussions, so you can work on that. Now, the college wants it somewhat meaty, so there you go. There's your word count. And you can choose APA or MLA for your formatting when you cite the sources. I don't care which one you choose, whatever you like. Now, I remember a long time ago, sometimes say, well, your syllabus isn't specific enough. We want to know exactly what you want for your Gordon role. Okay, hopefully this is specific enough for you. It must be typed, double spaced, Times New Roman font, size 12, 1-inch margins. There you go. How's that for specificity? Now, here's another one that kind of caught my attention. a while back, I had students getting grumpy, not everybody, just a few. Well, we think you should give us a topic. No, you're not in high school. By this point, you should be mature enough to figure out a topic on your own. And plus, by giving you this leeway, you can pick a topic you have interest in. I'm not going to say, Mr. Smith, you must do this. Oh man, I got to do that? No, pick a topic you like. It just has to relate to zoology. That's it. So what I've given you here are general areas of biology: astrobio, biotech, bacteriology, biochemistry, biophysics, there's biotech, botany, cell bio, ecology, evolution biology, genetics, histology, invert zoo, medical science, nutrition, general zoo, mycology, phycology, physiology, vert zoo, virology, general subjects. Just find something within those that relates. Now that's why I had this other tab open. I just plugged in something interesting. Why not? I get this all the time, especially because I used to work in zoos and aquariums. Are zoos helpful? Okay. So before I started this little orientation video, that just kind of came to mind. I plugged it in. It took me 0.2 seconds to get my results after I typed that out, and I got 181,000 results. Nice. It's not hard to find something, folks. And so, all right, well, Milwaukee, Racine, Madison zoos received grants. Great. You have to read the article to find out what. Texas zoos are working to protect threatened Louisiana pine snake. Very nice. Audubon Nature Institute invites public to join in wildlife preservation work. Very cool. Oh, look at the orangutan. Isn't he adorable? Australian zoo launches a non-fungible token project. Cool. I don't know what it's about, but cool. Local zoos taking steps to protect birds as avian flu spreads. Very important topic. These are great articles. Just find something that tickles your fancy as long as it relates to zoology. Now, along that idea then, where is it? Oh, right below it. In these general subjects, like I'm showing you these are general news sources. That's fine. Here it notes that right there. Mainstream media sources like ABC News, CBS, CNN, Fox News, NBC News. Those are all general sources. Great. You just have to use sources that are published. That's it. You cannot say, oh, I watched this video. You can't say I went and talked to this guy. No, those are anecdotes. They don't work. Don't do that. Hang on. Teams is being fussy. Give me 1 second here. Stop the Teams. I don't know if you can see it, but Teams pops up this presentation bar that is very annoying. And I read blogs on it. There it goes. And everybody's angry about it because it doesn't like to go away. Now it finally went away. Anyways, you've got to pick something that's published from a .edu, a .gov, or mainstream media. These are all mainstream media. Fine. Oh, I wish you would stop that. Fine. You just got to pick one. Now, I was noting in the mainstream media, you don't as often see it in .edus or .govs. Watch out for biases. For example, CNN, not always, but tends to lean left. And Fox News, not always, but it tends to lean right. Be aware of these biases. You could talk about the biases if you want. If you see them in your Gordon rule, fine, no worries. The .edus and the .govs tend not to be biased. When I do research, I'm cognizant of things like laws, but I'm focusing on the science, not my personal views, my political persuasions, nothing like that. I'm focusing on the science. That's what science should be about. So like NASA, for example, it's a .gov, it's still considered reputable. Or the CDC or the NIH, they're .govs, they're still considered reputable. If I find a paper that's from a .edu, maybe from Harvard, it should be considered reputable. Again, always be cautious, but sure, should be fine. Again, just watch out for biases. Again, no anecdotes, interviews, movies, nothing like that. This is state law, by the way. You have to do the Gordon rule. Once a college university says this is a Gordon rule class, you must do a writing component. So here we are. And just like anything else, don't turn in late. You could turn it in early. That's fine. Don't turn in late. Just like you saw earlier. Okay. A little moth flying around. Sorry about that. Oh, I caught him. Let me put him outside real fast. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Okay. So examinations then. So like I noted, there are 5 exams in the course. I'll show them in the tentative schedule momentarily. Now, Canvas is clear on this. Canvas Tech has said you have to, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Take your exams, Canvas quizzes, on formal desktop, laptop computer. You must do it that way. You cannot use a cell phone or an iPad or anything like that. You cannot do that. You can't say, well, Canvas comes up on my iPad, I'm going to take it there. No, it will not work. Sorry. And they even more than that, they said you must do it in Google Chrome. You have to. This came right from Canvas Tech. Sorry. And whenever you're doing that, make sure your computer, your operating system, your browser are all updated. Of course, don't cheat. Can't use your book or notes or anything like that. And if you have any problems, you can't bring the tech issues to me. I have no way of fixing tech issues. Canvas Tech does. So let's go over to Canvas for a second. Oh, that's your textbook. All right, so over here, scroll down, and right there, that's tech support right there. You've got to talk to them. If any tech issues come up, you can't talk to me. I'm going to mention this later, but the same with your book. When you get to McGraw-Hill, if you have a tech issue with your book, you've got to go to them. You can't bring it to me. No faculty can help you with that. So there's your, again, help issue. So let's say, I get this one from time to time. Let's say, oh yeah, my internet went out. My power went out. I couldn't take the test or finish it. Guess what? That can be checked. Absolutely can be checked. And you're found out that you're lying, you're getting a 0 on the test. If you find out you're cheating, you get an F in the course. It's that simple. Don't screw around. Don't play those games. It will be looked into. So just don't do it. And again, if you have a tech issue, go right to the help window. Now, the exams themselves. On the day of the test, I'll show you the dates at the end of the syllabus. You get exactly 1 hour and 40 minutes to take the test, just like at Del Mabry campus. So if you're at Del Mabry campus taking a zoology class, same amount of time you get there, keeping parity between the courses. Now, I do not care when you take the test. I've set it up so it can start at early as 9 a.m. and all of them will close. The entire test closes at 11:59 p.m. You can start it whenever you like between these times, 9 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. But I strongly recommend you start it before 10:19 p.m. because if you don't, you won't have an hour and 40 minutes before you hit 11:59 p.m. Every test will close at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you're giving yourself an hour and 40 minutes. If you start your test at 11:30, yeah, you've really shot yourself in the foot. Don't do that. Now, again, no matter what time you start it, you get the hour and 40 minutes, except the 10:19. So let's say you start at 9 a.m. Great. It'll close at 10:40 for you. That's when it stops. Easy enough. You start at noon, goes to 1:40. Easy enough. But make sure you start it again before 10:19 p.m. to get the hour and 40 minutes. Don't get in your own way. As I said, the tests will be generally from 50 to 100 questions long, and they're displayed one at a time. You cannot go back. If you don't like it, find another class. And as I noted here, I am not permitted to extend test time. The only way that ever happens is with disabilities notes. I'll come to that momentarily. Now, I recommend when you're done with exams, set up a Teams appointment to go over the test. It's always a good idea. We will send me an email. We'll work out a time, schedule one that's good for both of us, and we'll sit down and let you go over it. Remember, like I said earlier, these typically take between an hour and a half. There are no makeup exams given except for those extenuating circumstances. You better be able to verify that, document it and verify it. And it's my right to give you an oral exam. Those are harder than a Canvas test, should you miss one. For grading, here's your breakdown. I do a weighted system. So you can see exam 1, how much is worth, exam 2, how much is worth, exam 3, exam 4, exam 5, how much they're worth, the homeworks, how much they're worth, and the Gordon rule. This is done on purpose, by the way. I mean, obviously it's all on purpose, but certainly this one, I give a lot of points to the Gordon rule to try to help balance out these. Maybe you're really good at writing, but you're not so good at taking tests. And again, if you do just the 7 things I have in the syllabus, you'll get all the points on the Gordon rule. So it should be non-stressful at all. So this is your points breakdown. Now, what I've given you here is an example of it. This is a fake student in a fake class. I'm just showing you how this works. For this fake student, all right, exam 1, they got 63 points out of 70. They got a 90% on it. That 90% is 12% of their grade. Exam 2, 72 points out of 84. They got an 85.7%. That's 12% of their grade, and so forth. There's your homework. So they did all the homework. Homework, again, I think I mentioned this. Oh, actually, maybe I didn't. Let me take a step back, go back to homework. There's a lot to talk about, obviously. One thing with the homework, the answers are in your book. I know the answers are in your book. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Sorry about that. Because the answers are in your book, check your answers. You are not getting graded on did you get the answers right or wrong. You're getting graded on completion. That's all. These are meant to help you get ready for the exams. So as long as you do the homework and turn it on time, you'll get all the points for it. Give it the old college try, right? And so the student did the work. And then They don't have a flipped classroom. I'm sorry. This should be just Gordon rule. A lot of classes, things change. It's Gordon rule. Maybe in the Gordon rule, they forgot something. Maybe they didn't do a literature cited or something like that. And so I knocked a few points off. So at the end of the day, you can see there, test 1, 90%, 12% of the grade. Test 2, 85.7, 12% of the grade, and so forth. At the end of the day, just tally it up, and you can see what the student got. Now, being a scientist, I happen to like math. Go figure. So I follow the rules of mathematics. If I am allowed to round up, I will. So this 89.8 can round up to a 90%. You'll get an A in the class. Nice. And therefore, you can see my breakdown. 89.5 to 100, I round up if I can. 79.5 to 89.4, I round up if I can, etc. Remember, if it's a 0.4, I'm not allowed to round up. Last semester, a week ago, that happened to several students. I had one in a non-majors bio class. Wrote me after the final, said, I got a 69.3. Can I have some extra credit? No. For 2 reasons. I can't round up. Second reason, it's unfair. Why am I going to give you extra credit and not all your classmates? And this is after the semester, mind you. It's final grade, so there's no time to give the whole class anything. So no, it's not going to happen. And I reminded the student, you know what you really should have done? For any material in the course of the whole semester, you could have done something novel like, I don't know, come to office hours, ask me a question in email. He never did. Or, I don't know, go over your exams so you can do better on the upcoming test. Never did. Yet at the end of the semester, now they're freaking out. You knew on day 1 how the grades work. And because I follow the rules of mathematics, there is no subjectivity in my grading. In all these decades, I never remember even one student, no one example of someone saying, well, that's not fair. They got an A and I got a B. Because it's not subjective. Everybody's under the exact same rules. I follow the rules of mathematics. But it means you need to do your job too. That student didn't do their job. And so I gave them a grade following the rules of math that they earned. It's that simple. And it breaks my heart. I would love to help the guy. I would love to help you if you got a 0.4, get you to a 0.5, but I can't. 0.5, I'll round up. 0.4, we'll cry together. Because it's mathematics. You should be aware. Some teachers won't even round up as a 0.5. I know some math teachers. If you're going to get a 90% of the class, you better hit 90%. Even if you have an 89.9, they will not round it up. Kind of blows my mind that a math teacher does that, but I know some that do. Their class, they can do what they want. At least I'm giving you the rules of mathematics. Remember, you cheat, you fail the course. End of story. Cell phones, page recorders, doesn't really apply to this class, but I left it in case you're dealing with other classes or, maybe you're doing the stuff in the hallway at HEC. So just be polite to yourself and others, that kind of idea. This is state law for recording classes. It doesn't apply here because we don't have any lectures, but I thought you should be aware of the law. Talking in class also doesn't really apply to us. It's more, again, if you're in that hallway or something, please be respectful. You're not in class, but other people are. Extra credit. If you're going to get any, it'll be on your exams. You can't request it because it's not fair. I'm not going to give it to any one student. If I'm going to give extra credit, I'm going to give it to everybody. It's the only thing that's fair. So don't do that. Announcements. Again, make sure you're checking your announcements regularly. So be aware of that. Again, important notes. Bear in mind my background, ecology, zoology, and geology. I am not now, nor will I ever be a medical doctor, but I get a number of medical questions. I won't answer them. You need to find a board certified medical doctor to help you with your medical needs. So kind of keep that in mind. If you miss class, go into the syllabus, go into the attendance schedule, find out what we're doing and ask any questions. But that means read your book, read your notes, then ask questions. Don't say, oh, I missed a week. Can you tell me what we're doing? No, you are a college student. You are an adult. Go into your syllabus, read what should be done and do it. You're not in high school anymore. If you have a disabilities, I've given you all the contact information here. Now, bear in mind, by state law, I cannot do anything for anyone unless you go to the disabilities first. So you can't send me a message saying, well, I need 3 hours for a test. Okay. Once I get the note from the disabilities, I'll do whatever it says. So once you go and talk to them and say, yeah, you need 3 hours, the disabilities office will send me a message. They send me instructions. Okay. And if it says there, you get 3 hours for a test, great. You get 3 hours for a test. That's state law. I cannot do anything until you talk to them first. So go do it. They're very nice people. Here's all the contact information for you there. These next two bullets go hand in hand. Counseling services. This is actually really amazing. Good on HCC for doing this. They partner with BayCare. And they give you, as I know here, free medical services, free counseling services. You can talk to them for free, professionals, whatever you want to talk about. It could be schooling issues, money issues, work issues, relationship issues. It doesn't matter. It is considered a mark of health in today's society to speak to somebody when you need to. And at this point, we all need to speak to somebody sometime. It's a messed up world out there. It really is. So at some point, you're probably going to need somebody. That's okay. That's normal. It is considered a mark of health to talk to someone. Last semester, I had to help several students. They came to me asking for help. No worries, I'll help you. We even have counselors on campus. If you need that as well, again, we will help you. One clearly sticks in my mind. It was about end of February, beginning of March, in my non-majors bio class. He was struggling. And so I noticed he wasn't doing well, and I spoke to him privately after class. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I didn't ask him what was wrong, but it just kind of came out. But in this case, he was really reeling from the invasion that Russia did on Ukraine, and he needed to talk to somebody. No worries at all. I was happy to help him because it got him back on track. And he was worried, not just any kind of stigma, there should never be a stigma, but falling behind. He thought he was going to fail the class because he couldn't keep up. No. He went, I got him in touch with the counselors on the campus. He went and talked to them. He did great in the class. He didn't just finish, he did great in the class. This is meant to help you. And it's free, no less. He didn't go to BayCare. He actually went to the services at HCC campus. But that's the same thing here with BayCare. Just harping on the free idea for a moment. One person will probably always stick in my mind. It's a friend of mine who went to an inpatient center. She's on her third one right now. And in her case, it's for addiction to pills. I met her when she went into her first one about that time. She's struggling. She's still struggling. She was saying, yeah, that first inpatient center, she was there for about 2 weeks, I think, something like that, 2-3 weeks. She said that one inpatient center charged her $130,000 US. Are you kidding me? $130,000. She didn't have insurance. Oh my gosh. Now, I fully agree with her going. She needed help. I have nothing but respect for her. Not just the first time, she's on her third one right now. She's actually there as we speak, a third one. Nothing but respect for her. She's struggling, but she's doing what she can, not just to save her life, but to give her life back on track. But even just thinking on the first one, $130,000? I am roughly $130,000 short of that. I'm a teacher. I have no money. Incredible. Insurance. Remember, this is free. This is incredible that HC has this for you, including the counselors even on the campus. Use it. It is a mark of health to speak to somebody when you need to. And connect that with the second one, the Speak Up HCC. Exactly what it sounds like. If you hear of anybody threatening themselves, you, your colleagues, the college, this is what it's for, to get them help before they hurt someone or someone else, or before they hurt themselves or someone else. Look what just happened in the news. What, in the last 24 hours before I shot this video, today is the 15th, there was the 10 people that died in Buffalo. And right before I came into this lecture, I saw at least one person was killed in a church in California, all shootings. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. That's what this is for. To help them before they act out and hurt themselves or someone else. And it works. I have one clear example of this in my teaching. A student in my environmental science class a couple of years ago, he wasn't threatening me as far as I know, but he was threatening the school and threatening the dean directly. Now, I found out about it because he was one of my classes. He just kind of disappeared and I had to give him a grade. It came out later on. He came back to HCC, by the way. It worked out. This all worked for him. That he was schizophrenic, apparently, and he stopped taking his medicine, and it was not going well for him. And he was threatening again himself in the college. So this was activated. He got the help he needed. I don't know what was done for him. I don't know. It was not my place to ask. I never did. It's inappropriate for me to have done so, so I didn't do it. But he was gone for a few semesters. He returned to HEC and continued on his way. That's what it's for. To get people help when they need it so they can continue on their way. Use it. Don't abuse this, but use it. The equity statement. No matter what course you take at HEC, you should feel comfortable in it on all grounds. Race, color, gender, religion, national origin, your age, disabilities, sexual orientation, marital status, doesn't matter what the subject is. You should feel comfortable at HEC. And if anything's happening, talk to us. We will help you out. I've had to step in before. I've been at HEC a long time. Some of the things I've seen. We're here to help you. Now remember, syllabi, they're meant to be thorough, but not all encompassing. This is already 12 pages. How much more thorough do you want? But sometimes things are missed. I just saw 2 things I need to correct on this one. Again, going from spring to summer. I will correct those before class starts tomorrow. But if something happens, I'll let you know. I'll communicate it to you. All right, so here's your tentative schedule. Now it's tentative. When I first started teaching decades ago, I just had a schedule. And it was quickly pointed out to me, yeah, you can't do that. You need a tentative schedule. Huh? Because things are going to happen in the terms. For example, pandemics, fires, hurricanes, terrorist threats, they do happen. You should be signed up for the HEC Hawk Alert. When you go to university, and if you're already there, sign up for their alerts as well. When I was at USF, they had the Bull Alert. I cannot tell you how many times when I was either a student or faculty at USF, I saw a shooter on campus, suspected shooter on campus, whatever it is, don't come on campus. I lost track of it, especially the Tampa campus at USF. Oh my gosh, so much was happening there. So be aware. And because things can happen, like a hurricane. If a hurricane's blowing into town on one of our test days, we're probably not having the exam. So this is why we have tentative schedules. Now, you can see first off the orientation video. I set it for tomorrow because that's first day class. Quiz on your syllabus will happen on the 23rd. You'll see it in Canvas quizzes. Take it. Remember, by the 25th, you need to send me that email saying you want to stay in the class. And then your labs. Remember that, as I said earlier, these dates for your labs are just suggestions. You can do the labs whenever you want. Everything's online. You just have to have them all done by the day of the test. Remember, your homework is due on the day of the exam, including the labs. So notice I said lab manual. So look at the page numbers of your lab manual. These are those extra ones I put into the files folder. So file on Canvas, that kind of idea, file on Canvas or lab manual. But you can do whatever you like, as long as it's done by the day of the exam, so you can turn in your homework. And then I told you, of course, what your test is on. The chapters and the labs. I even wrote the chapter number names out for you, the numbers and names. So you can see our first exam was on the 9th of June. Remember, it's open from 9 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. You can take it whenever you want. You get the hour and 40 minutes, unless you start it after 10:19 p.m. Don't do that to yourself. Then you don't have an hour and 40 minutes. Plan wisely, yeah? Exam 2, you can see the labs we're doing. Again, these are just suggestions on when to do them. I try to space things out for you. And then, of course, the exam date, all the homework is due on the exam date. Again, the chapters and the labs on your exam too. Same for exam 3 and same for exam 4 and exam 5. Now I have 5 exams to break it up. There's a lot of information in zoology. I didn't want to have a midterm and a final. That'd be way too much, in my opinion, any one test. And even then, notice the final. The final is just chapter 17 to 20 and these labs. It is not cumulative. I saw no reason to do that to you. That would be a doozy of a test. I am trying again to make things as manageable as I can for you. And last but not least, these are the questions I get over and over and over and over again. So I'm trying to save us both a little bit of time. Read your syllabus, including the tentative schedule, read it thoroughly, and then if you have questions, let me know. Okay, so it's everything in your syllabus. Let's go back to your files folder. Let's make it a bit smaller. Okay, so in the files folder then, those are your additional files, your labs, your lectures, it's all there, your syllabus, all there. Notice the quiz files, it has like an I with a slash in it. It means you can't see it. Something on my end, so don't worry about that. Right now, you can't see discussions because it hasn't started yet. Remember, that happens on the 27th, I think it was, something like that. Quizzes, this is where you're going to take your exams and your extra credit quiz. There they are. All your tests and the times when you can take it. Like this one will be opening up on June 9th at 9 a.m., June 21st at 9 a.m., that kind of idea. Of course, grades are grades. There's nothing there right now, but. And then your book. Now remember, yeah, HEC doesn't want to load again. Remember, you must purchase the ebook at the Del Mabry campus. I can't help you with that. Of course, it'd be lovely if this would load. Like I said, HEC's been a bit, there it goes, been a bit slow today. So once you buy the access code at the Del Mabry campus bookstore, then you should be able to register. And if you have any issues, tech issues, you've got to talk to McGraw-Hill. I can't help you with that. But assuming it's all working, this should link you into the material. Look at that, it's just not loading well today. As far as I know, my internet's been fine, so I'm not sure what's going on. Again, this is my view, but in here is the ebook. Yeah, it's just not loading well today. So welcome to the joys of the internet. And that should give you, of course, the ebook. So hopefully it'll boot in. Again, I don't know what's going on with the internet today. Yeah, internet's been having issues. There you go. No, it almost went. This was working perfectly before I came in here today. There it goes. So again, welcome to the joys of the internet, right? So it's just being fussy and slow, but all your chapters are here. The title page, copyright page, contents, and all your chapters. You know, pick any one of these. Animal architecture, fine. Let's just take a peek at that. There you go. Animal architecture. Oh, isn't that beautiful? South and Idarian lineage again. So it's all here, ready to go for you. You just got to buy that access code at HCC Del Mabry bookstore. And then I put in here just in case you want it, maybe for your Gordon rule, that kind of idea. Hello. Okay, and this would link you into the HCC library. There you go. And once I log in, but yeah, it would let you do that. So there you go. There's your course in a nutshell. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I'll make those minor adjustments in your syllabus. Beyond that, it's a delight to meet you. I hope you stay in the course. Please hit the ground running. It's a summer class. They move pretty fast. You have a lot of information. It's all delineated here. But if you have any questions, let me know. Beyond that, have yourself a lovely day, folks. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye, everybody.